James Carter and Robert Greene spent their summers herding cattle up to a secluded mountain pasture. Days were filled with the lazy vigilance of watching over the cows. At night, they returned to a humble, weather-beaten hut. The work was simple, but monotonous, until James had an idea. He proposed they make a human-sized scarecrow. It was more for their amusement than necessity. They crafted it from burlap sacks. They gave it the likeness of a neighboring farmer they both detested. They named it Morris. Each day, Morris stood tall on a pole in their garden patch, and each night, they dragged him inside to shield him from the rain. Gradually, their interaction with Morris became an odd ritual. They taunted and mocked the inanimate figure, pretending it could respond in a silly voice. "How's the garden today, Morris?" James would ask, to which Robert would respond in a mock whisper, "Slow as ever." It was all in jest, until one chilly night, when Morris emitted a low grunt. James and Robert exchanged anxious glances. "Did you hear that?" Robert asked, unsettled. They had both heard it, and James was sure. It was Morris. "Let's burn him," James suggested, his voice trembling slightly, but Robert, more cautious, hesitated. "Let's not jump to conclusions. When we head down, we can leave him behind." Life resumed cautiously in their mountain retreat. They no longer spoke with Morris, who now sat ominously in the corner of the hut. Occasionally, the figure would let out a faint grunt. Days passed without incident, easing their fears. They figured perhaps a small critter had found its way inside the scarecrow. Gradually, they returned to their playful provocations. But one evening, as they were half eating, half joking, Robert noticed something alarming. "Is it just me, or is Morris growing?" he remarked. His voice was uneasy. James nodded, agreeing. The isolation was playing tricks on their minds. Their routine was abruptly shattered the next morning. Morris, without warning, stood and wobbled out of the hut. On its straw limbs, it climbed to the roof, galloping across it like a grotesque marionette. James and Robert stared in bewildered dread. The scarecrow continued its bizarre rooftop promenade all day. When it finally descended, it settled into a distant section of the pasture. Faced with this new unsettling reality, the men decided to move their cattle back to the valley immediately. As they departed, Morris was nowhere to be seen, giving them a false sense of relief. A few miles down the winding trail, they realized they'd left their milking stools behind. James reluctantly volunteered to return, while Robert continued toward the valley. "Catch up to me soon," Robert called after James. As Robert walked further, a nagging impulse made him glance back. To his horror, he spotted Morris atop the hut. The scarecrow kneeled, stretching something in the morning sun. As Robert squinted through the eerie light, he felt his blood run cold. It wasn't until he recognized what Morris was laying out, a skin, raw and unmistakably human, that he truly understood the magnitude of his friend's silence. The once playful scarecrow had come alive, with a horrible intent. As Robert rushed away, in a panic, the image of Morris on the roof remained etched in his mind. Morris, triumphant and ghastly, silhouetted against the night sky. No one would ever discover what truly transpired that night, but the sinister pastures would forever hold the secret of Morris's final act.